Hi, this is a Yesterday's Moose production. Today I'm going to be playing Pitfall, the original Atari 2600 game. I am playing this on the Activision collection for PS2. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to try something a little bit different with this Let's Play. I'm going to be spouting off a few facts about the game, what I basically like to call Let's Play and Learn. Now, I didn't have the Atari when I was growing up. I actually had the Intellivision, which was made by Mattel Electronics. It had slightly better graphics, but not by much. I believe there was a version of Pitfall that did come out for Intellivision, but it pretty much looked exactly like this game. And there I collected a treasure. As you can see, this game's pretty basic, but back when it came out, it was pretty revolutionary. Mainly because games were quick, didn't have a lot going on, and didn't really tell a story, so to speak. Whereas this game was action-oriented, had a story where you had to collect treasures, and you had things to do, like swinging on vines, and as you can see, avoiding crocodiles, jumping over pits, and logs, and fires, and snakes, etc., etc. So, a bit of information about this game. It was designed by David Crane for the Atari 2600, and released by Activision back in 1982, when I was a young lad. And Pitfall received a very positive reviews at the time, and was one of the best-selling games for the Atari, and it is also one of the most recognizable games. I think this is right up there with Pac-Man and Super Mario Brothers. At the time, it sold over 4 million copies, and the objective of the game is to collect 32 treasures in 20 minutes. I don't come anywhere close to that while playing this game, but that's apparently what you have to do. The treasure includes bags of money, gold, silver bars, and diamond rings. They have different point values, anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 points. And you, of course, have to avoid things such as pits, quicksand, rolling logs, fire, rattlesnakes, scorpions, and crocodiles. Of course, I think the game's most notable and famous for avoiding crocodiles. I seem to remember a advertisement where whoever it was in the advertisement was saying, "Watch out for the crocs." Now, I can't tell you when that advertisement came out, but it was a long time ago, believe you me. Pitfall is also generally viewed as having created the side-scrolling platform genre, although it doesn't side-scroll, as you can see. It goes from screen to screen. This game was ported tons of times to a lot of different systems like MSX, Commodore 64, Atari, home consoles, ColecoVision, and Intellivision, and versions of Pitfall were also ported to other computers under different names. There was an Atari 2600 sequel called Pitfall 2: The Lost Caverns in 1983. And at some point in time, I'm going to record myself playing that game because I actually like that game a lot. And there I just died. And I believe I die another time very quickly afterwards. Yep, here it comes. Nope, no. Okay, well, soon I'll die in the game. I remember I was doing that. I'm actually recording the audio after the fact because I didn't know exactly how to do the recordings simultaneously, so I recorded the video first. There have been also other sequels or updates to Pitfall over the years. Pitfall: The Mind Adventure was released for Super Nintendo as well as Mega Drive/Genesis in 1994. Later appeared on the Sega CD and Sega 32X consoles. Was ported to Windows operating system and the Atari Jaguar in 1995. My personal opinion, that was a really bad console. It did not fare well for the Atari company. It was pretty big even for the time, and the controller was huge and had tons of buttons. And at that time, it was not very fashionable to have controllers like that at all. So that's probably why it failed. Also, it had to compete with Sega and Nintendo and PlayStation, I believe, at that time. The Mind Adventure also includes the original Pitfall in the game itself, and also appeared on the Sega CD and the Sega 32X, which I may not have just mentioned. Yes, I did mention that. And here I'm going to get a silver bar. A lot of jumping in this game, of course, but I do like the jumping noise as well as the swinging on the vine noise. Very Tarzan inspired, obviously. There was a game called Pitfall: The Big Adventure, which was released for the Wii in 2008. And in 2012, Activision released Pitfall for the iOS on the iPhone, iPad, and iPod Touch. And they also released Pitfall for the Android as a free app. This version of the game was not exactly like its original. Instead, it was 3D graphics, and the gameplay was more like a endless runner, like Temple Run. And what else can you really say about Pitfall that hasn't been said already? There's a big bag of money. Now there's a scorpion down there. I don't actually go down there to interact with the scorpion at all, but apparently if you find a pit and you go down into that pit, advancing to the next screen actually advances you 3 screens ahead. I didn't know that until I was reading information about it. Apparently you have to do that if you want to get 100% and get all the treasures. For this gameplay, what I did was I went the normal way, which was from left to right, and eventually I'll get to it. When I go through it again, I actually decide to go left because I thought that would be fun. Because when I was younger, I always wondered which was the better way to go. Was it going right or was it going left? Because you can actually go both. It doesn't restrict you in that fashion. Some games like Super Mario Brothers, for example, you can't go left, even if you wanted to. I pretty much ran out of information about Pitfall. There's probably tons more on the internet that I could find. But I just wanted to throw out some basic facts. I'll probably do that with some upcoming Let's Plays. I'll have some Let's Play and Learn segments where I find some information about the game that I'm playing and list it off while I'm playing it. These logs, I seem to have a lot of problem getting over these logs. Seem to forget to jump on time for whatever reason. Like there. Now this game does not have any continues, but it does give you 3 lives. You don't get extra lives for getting more points. And I still seem to be having the problem of jumping. Of course, hitting a log doesn't kill you, but it does make you lose points. The only things that will kill off Pitfall Harry is to fall in a pit, the water, or get eaten by a crocodile, or touch a fire, touch a scorpion. By the way, if I didn't mention it, Pitfall Harry is the name of the main character. There's also an old commercial, I believe, with Jack Black in it, talking about Pitfall, where he was wearing a outfit like one would wear to a jungle. Oddly enough, Pitfall Harry never wears that outfit. He just wears his trademark green top and darker green pants. And I believe he has a green hat, although it's really hard to tell if he's wearing a hat or not. I fell down the pit. Now, I could have probably explored the pits at least somewhat during the gameplay, but when I play it, normally I don't go down there for any reason, so that's why I didn't do it while I was playing the game. As you can see, Pitfall likes to repeat things a lot, although it'll repeat the way the screens look and the positions of things. But like I said, back in the day, this was highly innovative. Not a lot of games looked like this, sounded like this, or played like this at all. I kind of like to say at that time, you were either a square going after things, or you were a square running away from things. Or you would be shooting at squares, or collecting squares. Essentially, all the games involved a square of some sort, or a rectangle, because circles were not invented yet. Now with Pitfall, you can pretty much get into a pattern whereby you will last for a pretty long time, like I am doing right now. I got into a pretty good rhythm. It has a fixed difficulty, but as you can see with this video, I have died already twice, and eventually I'm gonna die the last time and have to start all over again. reaching about the half point in the video now, so... Oh, there it is. I was just about to say that I was going to croak for the final time. So there I go, 54,997 points with 5 minutes and 14 seconds left on the clock. Not too bad. Now I'm going to go left. Ooh, left. They said that it couldn't be done. They said that there was nothing to the left that you could possibly want. But I said, poo-poo on you. I can go left if I want. In fact, I think you encounter treasures more often if you go left. Plus, if you die, you will fall down on the left-hand side of the screen, thus making it slightly easier. So we'll see if I happen to get a better score this time around or not. Kind of hard to make commentary after the fact while you're watching the video, but for future videos I will be making commentary while I'm playing, now that I know how to set it up on my computer. Certainly makes things a little easier. And it may look easy, but it's actually hard to jump on those crocodiles' heads like I'm doing. And you'll notice when I'm going to the left, I often jump over that bag of, well, the treasure, I should say. I often jump over it. And the reason is because I get pretty trigger happy. A little jumpy, if you will. Reason is because there's usually something right there waiting for you, whether it be a snake or a fire, like that. So it's sometimes better to jump and avoid it. A few times I catch on that it's an item that I want to collect and I don't jump over it. And the thing about these pits and waterways and whatnot, or water pits or whatever. Oh, there, I got killed by the fire. Just walk right into it, why don't I? And jump, yeah, sure, I'll jump over that ring, but hey, fire, I want that. Now, what I was saying about the tar pits and the ponds of water or whatever they are, they're always the exact same size. So if you pay attention, you can pretty much stop right in front of it if it's one of the ones that are opening and closing. Like there, I stopped a bit beforehand just to make sure that I wouldn't be walking into it. And sometimes, like there, you can get across the screen before it gets you. Sometimes it's better to stop, though. I think the timing of the opening and closing is the same between screens. So if I were to leave the screen while it was opening, then the next one would close in the same amount of time that it's supposed to close. In other words, they're always opening and closing at the same rate. And that opening and closing carries on from one screen to the next. I think that makes sense. It's kind of hard to know what makes sense when you're just watching things happen. For future videos, I might give myself a little bit of a script to follow, at least if I'm commenting on it after the fact. But like I said, I'm going to try making the commentary while I'm playing the game. Makes it a lot easier to sync things up and to think of things to talk about while I'm playing. And I'll just jump over another bag of gold. Why not? Or at least a bag of money. Has a giant dollar sign on it. A couple of years back when Little Big Planet was popular, I tried to make a version of Pitfall using the assets of Little Big Planet. And I have to say I had a lot of trouble using that interface to make levels. I found it actually pretty difficult. Like a lot more work went into making a level. So I didn't get the enjoyment out of it that I thought I would. Now, granted, if I had applied myself a lot, I probably would have gotten a lot better at making levels, but I have to say I lost interest pretty soon. There were a couple of things, negatives about the game, at least the designing part of it, that really turned me off and made me not want to return to it on a regular basis. Who knows, one day I might pick it up again and try to give it one more try, but right now I'm comfortable not having it. I will say, however, that the crocodiles that I made in the Little Big Planet were pretty good. They worked out well and functioned as they're supposed to. They would basically open their mouths and close them, and when they were closed you would be able to jump on them, but if their mouths were open they would be dangerous. We'll still have one life left after this. Already have 28,878 points. So I haven't come close to my previous score yet. I still want to know if I beat the score or not. I think my left-handed run was slightly better than my right-handed run. But now I'll know for sure. Now, what I'm doing to record this is with my PlayStation 2 is I have component cables, so that basically gives me a cleaner, sharper image. The visuals on this, I have to admit, do look sharper using those cables than using just regular AV cables or composite cables. Using the composite cables tends to give you a fuzzier image, whereas component gives a sharper image. Of course, there's not a lot going on visually that really requires it to be super sharp. Oh, there we go. I lose a life. So now I'm on to my last life. I just checked my time here. I do have a couple more minutes left in the video. So I guess not too bad. Now, if you do go down underneath where the scorpion is kind of hard to avoid. As you can see, it's following me around a bit. Scorpion does like to track your actions. Now, the one thing that I would say that about Pitfall 2 that I like is that it actually has background music. And that background music is influenced somewhat by your gameplay. And to me, that was one of the things that I really liked about it. I seem to recall it being in the arcade, but then again, I could be completely wrong on that. I can't remember exactly where I first saw Pitfall 2, but I do remember liking it. With my experience, I did play Pitfall 1 beforehand. I seem to remember reading the instructions for it and whatnot. And Pitfall 2 I found a lot later. The reason I didn't get off the vine there was because I would have landed on the log. I'm right now at 44,670 points. Still questionable whether I will beat my score or not. At this point, it doesn't look like I will. At this point in my gameplay, I was trying my best to conserve my last life as long as possible. Still doesn't look like I'm collecting a lot of treasures, so who knows, I guess maybe it is better to go to the right. And just as I say that, of course, I pick up a brick of silver. Ooh, getting close now. I think if I get one more treasure, I'll have more points. But will I get that treasure before the time is up? Before I die my last life? Both you and me will be surprised by that, because I honestly can't remember when I died my last life in this. Oh, there we go, 58,624 points. I think that's close to maybe possibly exceeding my previous score. I'd have to go back and see what my score was, but I know I'm at least close to it. The question is, will I get... oh no, I won't get another treasure. Well, thank you for watching. This has been a Yesterday's Moose production, and I'll see you next time.